Hi everyone, this is John from John's Guitar, and this is my long form tutorial of my arrangement of the Bare Necessities. A few points before we start. Firstly, I'll put a link to the video somewhere on the screen now while I'm talking, so if you've not seen it, you can actually watch the clip and decide if it's something you actually want to learn. Secondly, if you are a beginner, I wouldn't really say this is the arrangement for you. I would maybe start with something a little bit more simple fingerstyle guitar wise before you take on something like this, because it might be a bit frustrating. I'd say it's kind of advanced intermediate to early advanced kind of level, this one. So it can be a bit tricky in parts and maybe isn't the right thing for you if you're starting out playing the guitar. Thirdly, I have made two shorts of this, one of the verse and one of the chorus. I'll put them together so that's in one place as a short, and you've just got a quick reference if there's anything you want to check rather than come in and out of the long form video. So the way I'm going to structure this is basically like the song, but I won't go over the verse and the chorus parts again because I think I only need to go through those once, but I'll make sure I cover all the licks. So starting out, the arrangement opens up with a long lick that I wanted to kind of sound a bit sort of bluegrassy and a bit country. So it's got lots of hammer-ons and sort of slide-ups. I don't think it's that challenging in terms of playing it because it's not all picked like note for note. You're hammering on a lot of it. So let's have a look at that. I'll put the tab at the bottom so you can have a look at that as I'm kind of talking you through it. So we open up with this run. Which leads us in. So basically, I'm playing the first note with my thumb pick, all right? There should be another screen so you can see what my right hand's doing as well. But I'm plucking down the first note, the B on the A string. And then everything else is played with fingers, okay? It's only as we get towards the end of the lick you can see that. So I'll take you through it really, really slowly. So pluck, hammer on, pull up with the first finger, hammer on, third finger, slide up, and then pick first finger, hammer on, and then pluck first finger, next string, slide up, hammer on, pluck again, all plucked, and then we come back with the thumb pick for. Now, just a word on the thumb pick. You can use a thumb pick for this if you want. I play it sometimes with or without, depending on how I'm feeling. I've got it now because I used it in the video, but you can do both. Entirely up to you what you're more comfortable with. So the lick again, just nice and slow. The kind of melody notes coming in there in the bass. So up tempo. And that's that opening lick. Just remember again, you are not picking every note. Look at the tab, see where it's hammered on, and remember also you're plucking most of it with your fingers. If you want to use a pick, that's fine, but I find technique-wise it's just easier for me to use my fingers as I'm doing it. Okay, so moving on. So out of the lick, it takes us straight into the verse, and the melody note comes in on the second beat. Okay, so let's say we're here in the lick. Okay, so we pluck down, and it's got a boom chick pattern all the way through, that kind of boom chick pattern, which I'm imagining you're familiar with if you're having a go at this. That runs all the way through it. So in from the lick we go. And you can hear that pattern all the way through. So the first shape, basically I'm basing this around simple sort of cage position chord shapes. Occasionally we go out of that, but the melody is always picked around a shape. So you find the chord, that's how I worked it out. So I basically just heard the song and then worked out where the melody would be around those shapes. So I could implement the kind of picking pattern over the top to try to get those two things going on at once. So that first bit, the Bare Necessities, all picked around this position, an E7 on the 7th fret. And then we go up to an A7. Now, to get that part of the melody, I'm just hammering on the bottom note there of the A7. But in the picking pattern on this chord, so those two chords together, and the last note I'm playing there, let me just work it out. These two, kind of a little bit discordant over the top of it, but I feel like it works quite well in there, and that's going to take us into the next bit. And then we've got this shape here, so I'm kind of, again, barring on the 7th fret, I can't even remember what this chord's called. I'll try and put all the chords up as I'm talking about them as well, so you can see them on the screen. But this is, again, an E suspended type chord, I would imagine. And then this is going into... So here... that kind of leads us nicely into this C sharp 7 chord and then to an F sharp 7. You don't actually have to do that much with your fingers in terms of changing between these two. But it's important that when you're playing this chord, obviously first finger here, but third finger here, so you can pop it up nicely into that chord shape there. And then move that, then takes you into the same shape but further down the neck. Now, one thing I haven't really spoken about, because I'm kind of making an assumption, but obviously you are muting these top 3 strings, for bottom 3 strings, sorry, for most of the song. Okay, that's that's kind of how we do it when we're picking things and we're playing in this boom chick style. So, sorry, I've got something in my eye. We were here. So that next part of the melody of the chorus is just sliding up again in a 7th kind of A cage position shape. And I'm just picking these 3 strings with the bass note here. And it takes us into the next part of the chorus. I like this bit, the way this one goes. So again, I'm using the E7 shape, but instead of the melody being on the B string, it's now going up to the E string. And again, back to the A7 shape, but we're going to slightly push things up now. So we go to an A sharp and then to a B9 in that position there. And this is quite quick. This is a tricky bit, which I suggest you take slowly and just build your way into it. It shouldn't feel forced as you're playing it. So when you're up tempo, that should feel pretty easy. And if you get your finger changes right, or your finger position right, that again should feel quite smooth. So that run there. Now it's important to get this melody note in here. So an open B string. And because that then leads us into the kind of outro of the chorus. Now there is something important on this that will make this a lot easier to play. I think this bit, I seem to remember when I was doing it, was quite tricky as well. And I worked out that if, so the bit I'm talking about, okay, that bit there, make sure when you go to the C sharp minor shape that you are only putting 1 finger on, because it allows you to get quicker into this sort of F sharp 7 shape and then into that shape there. It does take a bit of practice just to get these chords right and in position, as you probably saw when I played it the first time, because I played it wrong. But so just slowly again. And again, you've got that open B string, which you kind of let ring out. It's very fast, and obviously it's not ringing out for long. But again, you need to make sure that's clear, because that's part of the melody. And as always, when you're playing fingerstyle, the melody is the most important bit. That needs to stand out the most. So get the kind of like the accompanying parts are the most important bits, I would say. The bits that you have to learn first and get comfortable with them, and then you can really start using the melody to kind of bring out that expression of the song. So that outro of the chorus again. So here, when I hit that E chord, I'm now going into the next lick, which is basically, again, I think not that challenging a lick to play, because a lot of hammer-ons, and this one is just simply based around a kind of blues scale position. So up tempo, it's like that. With the outro, and then we're in with the verse. So that lick. So down with the pick, and then fingers again. Sorry, I got that wrong then. So that note there is the first note in the melody in my head. That's the way I see it and the way that I did it. Wherever I wonder where in terms of the lyrics to that bit. So and that's just a simple C sharp on the top E string there, and then hammer on, pull off, and that then takes you into the verse. So the whole lick together. And then we're going into a B7 shape. So that part, let's just focus on the kind of going in between the B and the E. It's just finding the melody. Just again, quite a simple boom chick part. It's played quickly, which is the challenge, but in terms of if you're happy with your bar chords and those things, that shouldn't be too challenging, and you're comfortable with that kind of picking pattern, that boom chick style of picking, shouldn't be too challenging. The notes are obviously all in the tab, but I'm getting them here. Sorry. And it's simply putting the chords over the top of that. And then we come into that next section there. So this one is a bit weird because we've got some slightly strange chord shapes where we go from the sort of A major to A minor shape. And then this run coming up here, and again I think this is quite a challenging part because you need to be slightly lighter with your fingers, but we'll get into that. So after we've done that section, the wherever I wander, wherever I roam bit, we've got the birds are singing in the tree. So the way that I'm playing that is making sure that my little finger comes up there and it stays in the same place. Slightly lower the first finger, and then your third finger grabs this note here. And then first finger there. And it makes the transition easy. The bass part over the top, simple. Okay, again, just that standard boom chick picking pattern. Starting off the A string. And this, similar to kind of the run in the chorus, except we're going on semitones this time, so just up one fret at a time. And now we've got the final bit of that run. Now you're back in the E7 shape. And this is a bit that I think is quite hard to play up tempo. So it's just making sure that you raise your hand slightly as you come to that bass note there where it just slips down. So the whole section there, and that it's played slightly quicker than that, but again, nothing in there should feel that strained. All right, this bit is, I think, is the most challenging bit. But don't forget to elevate the hand slightly so you kind of reach up to that note, even though you're obviously going down the fretboard. So, and again, I'm playing a C sharp minor, ignoring the A string on that one, but just using the third finger there, slightly unorthodox position, but a lot of people do see use this. But again, it's just whatever's easiest. I'm just putting my fingers in a position to make it easier to get to the next chord, or it's been easier to get to this chord from the previous chord, if you get what I mean. So again, the whole run there in slow motion. And so now we come down to this section here where the timing gets a little bit freer. Not quite there yet, but it does. Well, we'll get to that when we cover it. So we've had our little run. Very easy little bit, but worth noting the bass, it kind of pushes before the melody. And just using these two notes here, but making sure I use my little finger and my first finger, and my thumb is playing that bass note, the F sharp. A bit lazy of me here, just kind of picked out the melody within the chord because the notes are in there somewhere, so I just used the whole chord just to kind of thicken it out a bit. But I'm playing a B9 chord there. I'm sure all of you have seen that shape before, using the third finger to bar those. First finger here, second finger here. So we've got, so if you stepped under the rocks and plants and take a glance at the fancy ants, I don't know what he's actually saying there, but it's that part of the melody. And then here I've got this kind of descending run from where he was talking. I felt like this kind of matched what he was, because he's kind of speaking this, so I thought this maybe matched it the best. And I've just kept one note in there as well, so I keep the top E string open the whole way through every time I'm playing a melody note on the bass string, which again, very simple, but just make sure you use all your fingers. Oh sorry, use your third finger, second finger and first finger in the way that I'm doing it. I just feel like it makes it a bit easier. And then coming up now is a run, just kind of coming up from an E major chord, and we're going to make our way all the way up to a G7. So and you can see the exact notes that I'm playing on the tab there. I'm sliding out, so that after the E major, F sharp minor, kind of G minor-y thing, and then we're going to a G sharp 7, so the little finger comes out. And then coming into the harmonies that are going to bring us into the chorus. So the way I'm playing these, that's just the top part of an E shape in a D cage position. So first, second finger, first, third finger, and then first and third finger again. And that's going to take us into the 2-5-1, which obviously you hear in a lot of jazz songs. So we're going F sharp minor, B7, E, and then it's going to pull us into a lick. So now you can be dramatic there, maybe do a dramatic pause. So that run there, the melody is all within that chord. You don't even have to move your fingers when you're in that F sharp minor position. And I'm playing this chord, a kind of B dominant something. So that shape, just grab a B7, then your little finger is on the B string on the 9th fret. And the reason why I'm using that shape is because that's where the melody is. And it comes off pretty quickly into a B7. Now here, this is a bit tricky because you're working sometimes with the thumb pick when you've got to pick another string which is right next to it. So that might take a bit of practice to get that clean. So instead of doing what I just did there, we're just carrying on with the boom chip, we stab at that point and then we've got a lick. Which again I think is quite simple. So first note's here. Sorry, I'll go from the 2-5-1 again. So sorry. So all I'm doing, hammer on, pull off. Let me I'll just do that again, just to make it a bit smoother. So coming into that lick. And you'll notice again, I'm only using the thumb pick on that thick E string. Okay, only one time am I using it there. And up tempo. Then it's quite a nice little lick there because it leads us back in to the chorus, which I've shown you before. So, yeah, I don't think there's much to really think about that I haven't shown you previously when you're looking at the chorus there, because the lick, just remember that you go in with your first finger. You cannot play that E and then go into the chord, because you need to be setting yourself to get into the chord for the chorus again. Or whatever's happening there, but it's really, really important that you were going into that. So coming out of the chorus, don't forget that bit there on that run. You won't be able to grab the next shape unless you put your first finger down there. Now the lick on the outro of the chorus here is a little bit weird. I decided, I don't know why I did this, but I go to the B instead of going to the E. It sounds like it should be going to the E, but I just decided to start it on the B because it kind of pushes it on a bit more. I don't know, I like the way it sounds. You could start this on the E if you don't like the way it sounds, but I just thought it sounded a bit jazzy to kind of add into the country style of it as well. So coming out of the chorus. So that lick there, starting off with the thumb pick, first 7th fret on the thick E string, and it's slightly different because I play that note twice. So we've got the fingering you maybe need to just look at, and just look at what I'm doing in terms of on this hand on the fretboard here. Again, I'm only picking the first 2 notes. So I'm using my first finger when I get down here to slide down. And then that is going to take me into my chord zone. And back into the bit that I've shown you again. Right, so finally now, so we've gone through all the other licks and we have this ending chord part. So again, we come out of the 2-5-1, the bare necessities of life will come to you. Everything is the same as you will have previously learned when you've done the verse. But what we've got now is this run where it's they'll come to you, where he's singing that bit. So now this is a little bit weird. You may have noticed if you've seen the video, it seems a little bit like an unnatural thing for your fingers to be doing. It does feel a bit strange when you're first learning it, but you will come around to it. So this is what I'm doing. So I have my 2-5-1 going into it. So the way that I learn this, first of all, before I start talking about the individual notes, we've got the boom chick. So you play the first note of the bar and you've got this. And sorry, that was a wrong note there, but that's basically what the bass is playing. So it makes it easy to go to the melody notes. So the melody notes. So we start here. So you've kind of got a bass ascending and a melody descending. That's the confusing bit. So now what I'm doing is so just give that a bit of really slow practice and then it will start to become easy. So the ending is basically just a repeat of that lick. So we've got the they'll come to use. So what I'm doing there, hammer on from the 7th fret on the thick E string. And then we go into the 9th chords there with a kind of D sharp to the E. So, sorry, mistake. So that section together. You'll probably play it better than that. It's starting to get quite late. So if you've learned that other lick, this one shouldn't feel that different. Again, same rule with the licks. First note played with the thumb pick. And that is basically it all the way through. So obvious advice, but you need to learn this slowly and then build your way up to get up to tempo with it. Once you've got it, it feels really comfortable. I don't feel that strained when I'm playing this now, particularly when I'm warmed up and I've been playing for maybe 20 minutes. It doesn't feel that challenging anymore, but that is obviously because I spent all the time arranging and learning it, and I kind of arranged it for the way that I play as well, which obviously makes it more simple to me. But the fundamentals, just to finish, are please just make sure you do it slowly. Remember that most of the melody notes are always picked around the chord. So if you're thinking of arranging things for yourself, you can pretty much always find those melody notes near you. I'm working on a Nina Simone one at the minute, and I'm really noticing sometimes that goes outside of that basic rule, but everything just kind of works like that. Yeah, so that's it. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial and it was in enough detail for you. My time is pretty precious. I've got 2 little kids and I also have a job, so I can't spend hours and hours doing these, but hopefully that's a bit more useful than just putting it on a little short. And I hope you have enjoyed the arrangement, and if you like what I'm doing, obviously please subscribe to the channel. But thanks for watching.